Hello everyone, it's Breezy, and welcome to today's episode of r/Am I the Asshole? I will be reading the stories and then giving my thoughts and opinions after the stories. Let's get on with the first story. This first story is called Am I the Booty Cheeks for Offering Eggs to a Vegan Stranger? So I, 25 female, own a few chickens. They're more like pets than livestock. And I love them. They produce a lot of more eggs than I can eat, so usually I'll gift them to friends and family, and normally people are pretty happy about that. Last week I spotted some interesting books on eBay. I texted the seller. She was really nice. We agreed on a price and scheduled a date when I could pick them up. So far, so good. That same day, I realized I had some leftover eggs and wouldn't see anyone I usually give them to for a couple more days. So I thought, hey, I got a great price for those books. She was nice. I'll just bring some as a present. Oh boy, I think I know where this is going. Boy, was I wrong. When I got there, everything went smoothly at first. She, middle-aged woman, helped me load the books in my trunk. I gave her the money and then I reached over at my passenger seat and grabbed the eggs. I brought you a little something before she went absolutely nuclear on me. She screamed about how her whole family being vegan, how dare I bring those atrocities onto her property. If her kids saw them, they would be a huge temptation for them, and so on. She even accused me of using my animals for my own satisfaction and wealth, which is obviously not true, and got me pretty upset. Well, yeah, I'd be upset too. I immediately backed up, took the eggs, and got the hell out of there. She was still shouting at me when I backed out of the driveway. I kind of chuckled to myself about how crazy that was until I told a friend about it a couple days later. She said she kind of understood the woman's perspective, that eggs count as a triggering food, and I should be more careful offering them to people who might have a specific diet. I honestly didn't think anything of it at the time. I am a vegetarian myself, and if someone offers me a sausage at a party, I simply politely decline. It's not like I tried to force those eggs on her. I just thought it would be a nice thank you to someone. By that logic, you can't gift anything to anyone you don't know that well because it might be triggering. But I'm trying to be a good person, aware of other people's opinions and issues. So Reddit, please tell me, am I the asshole? Disclaimer, I'm not in the U.S. I've read about eggs being super expensive there right now. Where I live, they're not that quote-unquote valuable. Okay, OP. No, you are not the asshole. You were gonna meet her once to pick up a couple of books, and you tried to do something nice for her. Her response was entirely on her. I have no idea what else would be going on in her life, other than her kids obviously not wanting to be vegan anymore, as she was worried the eggs would be a temptation on them. Her reaction was absolutely ridiculous. And as far as your friend goes, well, she's probably not a very confrontational person, but that's on your friend. You were trying to do something nice for a stranger. How is an individual supposed to know every little detail about a stranger? I mean, it's ridiculous, especially if you're only going to meet them once. It's not like you were invited out to brunch or anything and then brought an egg salad and only to be given this same attitude. This woman went nuclear for possibly no reason, or possibly she's for personal reasons that she's got going on, and she just took it out on OP, which is not fair. Now, this next story is gonna anger you guys. It angered me, and I'm not even a parent yet. I want to be one day, but this next story is about a woman who thought it would be a good idea to get her 10-year-old the game Dying Light. This one is titled, Am I the Asshole for Not Punishing My Son for Making Fun of His Sister for Wetting Her Pants? Okay, OP, you are already a red flag for not disciplining your child, but you're an even bigger red flag for why your daughter wet her pants. My husband, 40 male, and I, 38 female, have 2 amazing kids, 10 male and 7 female. Our son's birthday was a couple days ago, and the gift he was most excited to receive was the video game Dying Light. He heard about it from a friend and was really excited to try it out. It's a video game about zombies, and he loves anything zombie related. Today he was playing the game in our living room when his sister came downstairs, and unfortunately, she walked in during a pretty scary part. This part of the video game scared her so bad she peed her pants. When her brother saw that she'd peed her pants, he started laughing at her and said, "Ha ha, you peed yourself, you're a big baby." I went in and asked what was the matter and saw that my daughter had wet herself. I asked her what happened, and she said there were scary monsters in the video game her brother was playing, and they were so scary she started to cry. I then comforted her and took her upstairs to calm her down. What about your son, OP? Later, my husband came home from running an errand and asked what our daughter was so upset about. I explained what happened to him, and he asked what punishment I gave our son. I told him I didn't punish him. This made my husband very upset. He asked why I thought it was okay for our son to bully his sister. I said I didn't think it was a big deal, but he insisted otherwise. My husband has been very upset with me since and claims I should have punished our son right then, but now since I didn't, he will look like the bad guy if he punishes him for making fun of his sister after I did nothing. Your husband's not wrong, OP. Am I the asshole? Okay, I apologize to my husband for letting our son's mean comments slide. I understand that it needs to be addressed. My husband and I are about to have a talk with our son about why what he did was wrong, and he needs to apologize to his sister. Many of you got the idea I wanted to just make my husband do that on his own, but we're both going to talk to him. And to all of the people saying I shouldn't let my son play the game, I mean, you can keep commenting if you want and I might respond, but my son will still be allowed to play the game. Are you as mad as I am yet? Update. My husband talked to our son and I explained to him how his sister was scared and that's why she peed her pants. We asked him how he would feel if he was scared and she just made fun of him. He said he'd feel bad, and he understood that he made her feel bad by making fun of her. He apologized to his sister for making fun of her and gave her a big hug and a big kiss on top of her head, and said he was also sorry that her video game scared her, something we didn't even ask him to say. We all comforted her and promised her she was safe and the monsters in the game weren't real. We told our son that from now on he can only play the game in his room because it's too scary for his sister, and he understood. To make our daughter feel better, we made her favorite dinner. Breakfast for dinner. A big batch of pancakes with peanut butter and hot maple syrup with a side of hash browns. This made her quite happy. Some of you thought I favored my son over his sister. I don't. I adore both my kids equally. I did make a mistake undermining how bad him teasing her when she was scared really was. So here's the thing, OP. You may have gone back and disciplined your 10-year-old after he bullied your 7-year-old. However, that's not the biggest reason you're the asshole right now. I can't even believe it that we're still having to explain something like this in the 21st century, where so many kids are given free reign over the internet. But, OP, your biggest mistake was letting your 10-year-old play a game like Dying Light. I believe a 10-year-old is old enough to distinguish reality from fiction. I believe a 10-year-old is old enough to know the difference between a game and real life. He's old enough to know that the movie monsters are in the movies, that the game monsters are in the game. I also believe a 10-year-old is old enough to know not to use profanities. Profanities are not my biggest issue here. No, my biggest issue is, OP, you don't know if it has any explicit adult content. I don't think I need to explain further. But you didn't look into the game and see what kind of game it was. All you know is that it's a game about zombies and that he likes zombies. This is not Plants vs. Zombies. This is not even a Resident Evil game where there's gonna be some sort of mild campiness to the game. No, this game could have full frontal nudity and you don't know that, and you're exposing a 10-year-old to that? Now, I'll be honest, I don't know if Dying Light has any of that in it, but that's the point I'm trying to make. I don't know. So if I had a 10-year-old, I would want to play the game or ask a much older adult friend to play the game to see if my 10-year-old would be okay playing it. That was your biggest mistake, OP. Was not looking to see if your child is being exposed to certain material. What if he was really into cars? Would you get him Grand Theft Auto 6 because it's a car game? No, you probably wouldn't. Because I feel it's kind of common knowledge now that GTA is full of explicit content. Anyways, that's it for my rant. This next story is about a really bad roommate who was asked to do a few simple things and failed completely. Or rather, just chose not to do them. This one's called, Am I the Asshole for Suing My Now Former Friend? I don't know, OP. Let's find out. I, 28 female, am filing this week to sue my now ex-friend, Veronica, 24 female. About 7 months ago, Veronica asked to move in with me and my boyfriend, who owns a 5-bed, 3-bath house. We've known each other for a few years and had grown close. She even introduced herself to others as my BFF. My boyfriend has rented out rooms before, and since we had a vacancy, we agreed to let her move in. There was no written lease, but we agreed via text that she'd pay $800 a month, utilities included, for a bedroom and private bath. Hey, that sounds like a pretty good deal. Since she didn't have a job when she moved in, my boyfriend allowed her to delay the first payment. But over 6 months, she cycled through 7 jobs. 7 jobs in 6 months? What's wrong with her? Quitting each one for vague reasons like bad vibes. Ugh. No. I think I know exactly the type of person this friend of yours is, OP. She made only one partial payment the entire time. Of course she did. Despite claiming she had no money, she was frequently going out, getting 90-minute massages, and taking long trips to meet up with men. We had a 3-week Europe trip planned for years, and Veronica offered to care for my pets while we were away. Oh, no, there's pets involved. Despite me originally going to hire a pet sitter, I am a zookeeper and take pet care seriously. I left clear instructions, supplies, and $100 cash for reptile food, asking her to keep receipts. She sent regular updates while we were gone, making it seem like everything was fine. The key word there is seem. But when we got back at 3 a.m., I was devastated. All my reptiles had no water. Most of my fish were dead. The tank was filthy and overfed, and many supplies were missing or depleted. OP, I'm really sorry about your pets, man. I really am. That sucks. That sucks big time. I messaged her, upset but not rude, asking what happened. She responded defensively. Of course she did. She responded defensively, saying I should be grateful, quote unquote, and claiming she did a better job than, quote, anyone would have paid, end quote. When I told her I spent 5+ hours cleaning up and over $300 replacing things, she brushed it off, offering only to go to the store and replace the fish. You don't just replace a pet. The audacity of this woman. She also only used about $40 of the $100 I gave her and never paid me back or replaced my fish. After that, she avoided me completely, only coming home late at night and staying in her room. Then one day I came home from work to find she had moved out without saying anything to me or my boyfriend. Wonder why she did that. She blocked me on all social media. We were shocked but let it go until I got a call from a friend who had only met her once, saying Veronica had messaged him and my manager long rants calling me evil and saying she saw the light and needed to cut me off. I am 4 months pregnant. Oh no. And she even told my friend I should get in a... Told my friend I should get an abortion. Oh my God. That that's just a cruel thing to say to someone. At that point, my boyfriend and I decided to sue her for the $4,800 in unpaid rent plus damages to the room and bathroom. Most of our friends agree it's fair, but some think that we're in the wrong since we were going to drop it until she started bad-mouthing me and because she's struggling financially. So, am I the asshole? No, OP, you are not in the wrong here. And honestly, I feel like I would do the same thing. You were going to let it go, but your so-called friend decided to run her mouth, and now you've officially seen what kind of person she is, and all you want is justice. That's it. You're only asking her to pay for her actions. That's it. You know, if you let this go, how many more people is she going to do this to? She's going to cycle through everyone until everyone, as she might put it, abandons her or turns evil in her mind. This person needs to face consequences for their actions, or they're going to keep going. I don't know what drives a person to behave like this. It could be a substance problem, I'm gonna admit. But that's just a theory of mine. The truth is we don't know. But OP, no, you are not in the wrong. You have every right to be financially compensated for this, especially since there were casualties in the form of your pet fish involved. And again, my condolences to your fish. Anyways, let's read a more lighthearted one. This one is more about family members taking slight advantage from someone, but stems more from a big miscommunication or lack thereof communication than anything else. Am I the asshole for refusing to share my snacks on vacation? No! I don't want to share my snacks either. No, I don't take my snacks. Not the snacks. They're my snacks. I, 30s female, go on vacation with my family every year to the lake for a week. The group includes my parents, my brother and his wife, and my sister. Our parents pay for the house rental. Ooh, you don't go camping? You rent out an entire house? Nice. I have offered to chip in numerous times and been told no, that they like doing this for the family. My siblings and I find other ways to contribute. Paying for dinner out, picking up the groceries, or paying for an activity. That sounds fair. The lake is kind of in the middle of nowhere with only one medium-sized grocery store that's super overpriced, about 20 to 30 minutes away from the house we rent. Because of this, I always make a run to the grocery store in my hometown before the trip to stock up on drinks and snacks. Well, that's a really good idea. I always text the family group chat to see if anyone wants anything. Most of the time people say no and that they'll buy snacks at the store at the lake. I know my family well enough that I always buy extras since you can't open a snack on the beach without everyone suddenly wanting some. It's fine, I don't mind doing it. However, for the last couple of years, the extra snacks I bring seem to not be enough to get us through the week. despite the fact that my whole family laughs about the amount of stuff I bring. Then we do the big grocery buy on the first day of the trip, and no one gets anything because OP brought enough to feed an army. Oh no. By the end of the week, we're out of everything, and I either have to go on a supply run or go snackless. I don't tend to eat big meals, and I prefer to pick and snack throughout the day. So a lack of snacks makes me hangry and not pleasant to be around. For our trip this year, I specifically kept out a bag of pretzels and kept them in my room. Watching the other snacks be consumed through the week, I warned everyone that I wouldn't be making an extra run this year, and they brushed me off. By Thursday morning, the snacks were gone. I took my pretzels and kind of concealed them in my bag for the afternoon and tried to be sneaky when I was eating them. But pretty quickly, my older brother saw and asked me to pass him the pretzels. He should have brought his own. I said no, and he laughed like I was joking and walked over to take them. Wait, what? Even if you are siblings, why would you just take her snack from her when she just told you no, my dude? God, some people. I said, sorry, but this is the last bag. It's gotta last me until we leave on Sunday. He got annoyed at me and said I was being ridiculous. We attracted the attention of my parents, who basically told me to share with my brother, like we were 8 and 10 and not both in our 30s. And then made some comments about how I was being ridiculous over $3 pretzels after they paid for the whole trip. Wow, gotta love the guilt tripping, right? I maintained that I wasn't being ridiculous, that I'd brought over $150 worth of snacks that had been decimated, and that my brother is a big boy with a big boy job who said he didn't want anything when I asked and could have 100% provided his own snacks. Edit to address some common things in the comments. The snacks are not my only contribution to the trip. I also paid for dinner, mini golf, and share of the groceries. Oh, but I thought your parents bought the whole thing. I really hope you picked up on the sarcasm there. I mentioned the price of the snacks so that people would have an idea of the volume, as in, I would never eat $150 worth of snacks just for myself in a week, so obviously I was planning to share, not to make some kind of statement about how much money I contributed. I am a snacker / grazer. My family, for the most part, is not. Eating this way works for me, and it's not something I can just turn off on vacation. I will not be accepting criticism at this time. I appreciate people suggesting I do a secret stash of snacks in my room, but that won't work unless I plan to spend most of the trip in my room. The house is about a 5-minute walk from the lake, so that means every time I want to eat, I'd have to walk back to the house, eat something, and then walk back to the lake. So like 15 to 20 minutes every hour or so. Yeah, that's not fair to you, OP. To everyone saying, just get more snacks. The point is, I don't want to. And I don't feel like I should have to when I've made efforts to take care of myself. From my point of view, I eat in a different way from my family, and I'm not asking anyone else to make allowances for that or to subsidize it. I am sharing the additional food I brought with others and offering to buy them whatever they want initially. Last update. Okay, so I've read most, if not all, of these comments. To those of you who have made comments on what you assume my body is like, to those of you who just basically said, don't go on this trip again, I appreciate where you're coming from, but I enjoy this trip. I don't get to spend a ton of time with my family all in one place, and 95% of the trip is super fun. I think we all revert a little to our younger selves when we're with our siblings, and that's all this was. My brother wasn't throwing a massive fit or tattling on me. It was light sibling bickering. Yeah. My parents also reverted to the early 2000s and basically went into don't make me turn this car around mode. Don't turn this car around mode. Yeah, that sounds like exactly what happened. Some of you had some really creative suggestions for how to ration snacks, and I think I will save them for if I ever have kids. That's a good idea. For now, what I think I'm going to do next year is send out a text with the snack offer. Remind everyone that I don't eat as much of them at meals, and warn them at the beginning of the trip that I'm saving a portion of the snacks for later for myself, so no one thinks I'm being mean or hiding things. I also may switch to more individual items where it makes sense so that everyone can be responsible for bringing their own snacks for the day, so we're not just playing pass the bag. So I think OP had the right idea, and yeah, she's right about the whole sibling thing. I play Dungeons and Dragons with my brother every week. He's my dungeon master, or our dungeon master. We do have one other player that's also a friend of the family, and I have a lot of fun. And I do often revert back to being a giant 12-year-old when I'm with my siblings. It's just one of those things that happens. It's like when you visit your parents for the first time after leaving the home, and they immediately start reminding you of stuff like, no shoes on in the house. Remember to clean up your mess. No, rinse off your dishes and put them in the dishwasher. If it's full, start the dishwasher. Are you taking your vitamins? Yeah, this was nothing more than a case of just a little bit of sibling bickering and parents telling them to knock it off. But I think OP came up with a good solution for her and the family. And yeah, they need to learn to not rely on you for snacks. It sounded like it was more between your brother and you than the rest of the family. But yeah, you offered to bring snacks and they said no. So that was on them. And you told him, no, I'm not sharing my snacks because I eat in a particular way. So yeah, he was kind of a D-bag for trying to take your snacks from you. But like you said, you kind of reverted back to children. And sometimes that's nice to have that moment with siblings, you know? Well, that brings us to the end of the video. If you like this content, feel free to subscribe and click that bell. And I will see all of you in my next video. Oh, bye!